the spawn to be. Okay. So yeah, let it be like that. Let it be like that. So I am Tiffany, Empire Impact Ignite, and this is basically just about to be just a little bit of how God will humble you and the risk factors, because I was just thinking about where I've come from, where the Lord brought me from, and just now as an adult, and raising children, being a mother of three. um God will humble you in the remembrance of where he brought you from. So I just kind of wanted to share, because right now, if you don't know, I am oh, look at my glasses. Um, I'm like a barber beauty ambassador, your go-to for braiding and barbering. Okay, if you are trying to basically build a career or get into the industry, um, I'm here to help and serve any way possible through my experience, my expertise. Um, I am a licensed master educator, and it's not honestly because that's what I saw myself as. That's just kind of what what God allowed, basically, because I never saw myself as that. And even in what we don't see ourselves in, and we just trying to do our own thing, God have to, have us eat that humble pie. So that way, even when it may seem like certain things are a risk, a lot of people are not doing what God is calling them to do out of fear or feeling like you're not good enough, not adequate enough. Yet when we're not doing what God calling us to do, we're taking other unnecessary risks. And he just extending his grace, his love, his mercy, to allow us to be able to get into his will. So that's kind of what this live gonna be about. I ain't gonna lie, normally I don't make too many notes, but I made some notes because I wanted to make sure I hit on certain parts, because at the age of 12, I was in the 7th grade. I would consider myself then a hair braider, to where people outside of my household knew that I braided hair. What's going on? Make sure you represent where you tuning in from, for those that are watching live and for those that will catch it on the replay. Hello, hashtag replay. Okay. So because of the way I ended up stumbling across just being able to get into braiding, attracting clientele, doing my hair, doing my little sister's hair. And this is the thought that made me want to come live, this part of it. Now, that's at the age of 12. If you don't know anything about a 12-year-old, or if you've forgotten what being a 12-year-old felt like, what it looked like, because I was raised by my grandmother, and it would have been these same feelings maybe, whether I was raised in a 2-parent household and or not. But I remember around that time when I just felt like in certain moments no one understood me. I've always been a go-getter. I've always been willing to have my own sense of, I can do it. I got it. Not really needing nobody to kind of spoon feed me or coddle me or baby me like that. But I've always been like that. That's 7th grade. From that 7th grade year, that's the same year, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't want to say I'm mistaken. That might have been the last summer, as I was preparing to go to the 8th grade. That my dad, he would come and spend my birthday like around that weekend with me, because my birthday is the weekend of, like, it's July the 2nd, so you already know, depending on how it fall, then it's the 4th of July weekend, period, point blank. So in this time, I'm learning that particular gift is revealed. I'm able to make my own money. I'm being raised by my grandmother. And now, fast forward, high school. I want to focus in on this part of what I did in high school, because I know that this stuff took place prior to me becoming a mother. It had to be in high school, whether it was 10th grade, 11th grade, and or 12th grade. Between those years, I had already pretty much lost my virginity. I already had a reputation. I was known as like the neighborhood fighter, a fighter in the neighborhood. Um but my, what I would have called my high school sweetheart, I already experienced a form of like we didn't like do all of what's going on right now, but basically it was a lot of kids being either killed or murdered or just different things going on in high school. And I did experience that, if I'm not mistaken, 10th or 11th grade. So between these times, before I finished and walked across that stage, I'm around here done cop the cop the O. I was selling weed. I thought upon myself, how can I, earn some more money, take the money, my hard working money that I made. Because I always kept a job, I always worked, I always had the capability to make money on my own. And this is the reason why I'm sharing this, is because God will show you how the enemy will want to set you up. Now, mind you, my mother was on crack for 20 years. My father was one of the biggest dope boys in one of the country cities. And that's its own story. I don't want to focus too much on that. But because I made up in my mind that I didn't want to be on drugs, like, or alcohol abuse and substance abuse like that, here go the enemy wanted to have me still caught up in that lifestyle. So your girl got her own pack. Okay. Not only did I get my own pack, my own ounce of weed to sell. Mind you, my grandmother raising me. So I know I already had done got that pack while I was still living under her roof. Lord forgive me. You see what I'm saying? This is the part of the humbleness. Like, I am literally in the season as a mother, and I'm a single mom, so I'm on here trying to encourage some people, some parents, or whoever this may be for, as I'm just being transparent. And I never thought of this. I never thought of these like this. So I'm just sharing it and walking you through, because in the way that the enemy try to play on our minds even now, one of the things I believe God wanted me to get across, like what he's trying to get across to me and what I'm sharing, so maybe it can get across to you, is that if he kept me from my foolish ways, okay, I meant God forbidden ways, then I need to be able to trust the God that was able to show himself strong and mighty in my life as I'm raising, my children. Because not only did I get my own weed pack, I already had the capability. I already knew I could braid hair. I already knew I could make money. But I'm like, nah, I'm going to work, and then I'm going to just kind of do it my way. I sold crack too. I got my own, I had probably, I at least either got a half or a whole. At this time, that was about, because like you can get an ounce back in the day, that was like $180. Then if you wanted a cookie, you could get that for like $350 depending. You see what I'm saying? I'm saying this because the crazy thing, I didn't see myself as a barber coach. I didn't see myself working like how I'm working in the beauty industry. But even when I do what I do, I remember having a conversation. I said, because I just want these men to know that they don't have to sell drugs. Now, I wasn't like full-fledged hardcore all like about that life. And that's where the risk factors come in. I knew I wasn't trying to do no time. I ain't trying to go to jail, going to the feds for selling no crack, no weed, no nothing. Like now it's like maybe the weed might be a slap on the wrist. They might let you slide. The officer might smoke the weed, take your weed and smoke it for you. But back then, you going to jail. That was not a thing where it was so normalized like now, to where, oh, you ain't gonna be told that you in possession of. No, it's not the right thing to do. So in that, I'm sharing it because not only, now mind you, at 12, I already knew I could braid hair. I could already make money. But here I go in high school. Here I go in high school. Mind you, I have a high school. I have a ninth grader right now. You understanding where I'm going with this? And this is a part of God humbling me, reminding me. Because I ain't gonna lie, some of the stuff that we do as children, we don't always remember. Because I'm like, I know I wasn't like no bad child like that. Like I wasn't the worst. But I did my devilish stuff. I did things. So even in those things that I did, those were risk factors. And I knew better. And yet I still did things. Whether they were my own thoughts, whether I just was being influenced or whatever, I made bad choices. Okay, so between that time, this was probably like 04, 05, 06. And I became a mother in 07. So of course I wouldn't be around here big and pregnant trying to sell drugs. No, that didn't happen. But guess what? I was pregnant by a drug dealer. I was pregnant by somebody that was gang affiliate, so that relationship was also very toxic. It was domestic violence involved on both ends. And I had different opportunities even in that, which allowed me to become a licensed hair braider. I wanted to go to school for business in that relationship, but it didn't work out. I quit. Then after I became a mom, I was going to go to hair school, cosmetology school. That did not quite work out as I planned. But mind you, I already was like operating back into my gift. As a assistant, shampoo girl, got my license. And doors were opening. Doors were opening, but the grind and the mentality, and this is why even when I do my dynamic training, I teach business and I teach against the hustle, but the hustle, what's that saying? They say like the hustle sold separately. Like the same work ethic and the same mentality to be like a go-getter. I would call myself more of a go-getter than a hustler. Because I just don't like the whole connotation of hustle, because it's like a nonstop thing. That's why I try to teach the ethical part and the business posture part. And the reason why is because, especially once you become a mother, how you move is completely different. The risk you take is completely different than when you just rolling solo. You young, you pretty dumb, naive, just kind of on a paper chase or get money note. Like it is what it is, but it's nothing like allowing God to humble you. Allowing God to remind you who's in control, allowing yourself to be submitted to the will of God, because His plan is for us to prosper. His plan, the blessings for the Lord maketh rich and add no sorrow. I'll never forget, and the reason why I'm sharing this because I'll never forget this time when I had work on me. That's the slang word. Okay, you had work on you, and it was a private undercover cop next to us. Now I'm not driving, I'm riding. We round here, little D girls or whatever. And the officer was, we was being threatened to be searched, honestly. And I thank God, because God didn't allow us to be searched. They also called a female officer out. I'm telling you, we dirty. We dirty. They called the male officer, called a female officer out. They called the dogs and all. And you know what? God blocked it. See, that's why even now as a kingdom life coach, covering business, areas of life, just being transparent and helping other people, just trying to make sure that they don't make the bad choices, make sure they don't have to think that that's the only alternative route. God could have allowed me to go through the penalty of the consequences that come with being acting like you really about that life. But God blocked it. And I'm sharing this story. This is so many years ago. This is over like 15 years ago. This is probably like 17 years ago. This stuff was going on. I was a teenager. I was probably like 17, honestly. This is half of my life ago. And I'm like, but God saw fit to not allow me to get caught up with drug charges. Y'all don't hear me. This is blessing me even though I'm talking about this. I made some notes because I didn't want to be all over the place. But as a mother, even a mother of 3 sons, and I stepped outside to have this conversation because they don't know all of this. They might catch my video later or whatever like that. But it's like, wow. The enemy, if we're not careful, will have us be trying to derail our destiny. He'll be trying to derail our future. He'll be trying to hinder us from becoming who it is God is calling us to be. I was 17 years old. I had no business doing stuff like that. Now, think about it. As a young lady, I'm doing this. What do you think the fellas doing? Not all of them. But what do you think the fellas are doing? And mind you, not only was I doing it, I was rolling with another young lady that was doing this. She might be like 2 years older than me, but at the same difference. Look at this. Look how the enemy will come into our youthfulness. Come into our youthfulness and try to derail our future. Because you know what? We don't know who we are. But we taking those risks. But we scared to trust God. That's the risk factor. Because the older I'm getting, I'm like, let me calculate it. Let me count up the cost. But look at this foolishness that I was doing as a teenager. But now we dare to trust God. We're afraid to trust God. We're afraid to let God. We're afraid to just, build a business, become an entrepreneur, work inside of this place for a set time. No, we got to begin to be intentional about making the devil out of a liar. Again, this is just me sharing because this is why my training, my dynamic training, if you see the thumbnail, I got, right now, I'm basically a dynamic trainer. I have a Dynamic Hair Designs Barber Academy. That's my training that I do to help barbers, braiders just begin to become what God is calling them to be in this industry, what they have to offer, but do it the way that God is telling them to do it without being intimidated, without being fearful, without feeling like you gotta nickel and dime yourself, cheat yourself, feel like you can't accomplish certain things. Because what I'm learning, even as I'm training certain barbers and certain braiders, some have never even graduated high school. Mind you, with all of that, what I just shared, I knew, if I knew what I knew, that my grandma was not going to allow me not to walk across that stage. So that was happen unless I would have got caught up in one of the choices, the foolish choices that I would have made as a child. But let me tell you, I walked across that stage, getting my diploma. It was not an option. My mom dropped out of high school like 11th grade or something like that. My grandmother, she did finish. I believe my dad got a high school diploma too as well. But I'm just saying, like, it's so many different things that can take place in the course of a life, in the course of a year, in just the course of just time. And we got to get to a place where even when God humbling us to remind us, like literally this thought came when I'm just, in the shower. I don't know if water in the shower or what that do for you, but in that place, it just allows me to like clear my head, just think and really hear what God is speaking to me. And this was like one of the things that came, and this reminder was so humbling. It was so humbling. I'm telling you, because the pressure of raising children, like I'm 17, my grandma already raising me, raising somebody else's child, because my mom wanted to be out on drugs, whole crack addiction, 20 years. This might even been the season, if I'm not mistaken, to where my grandma was, because when I was born, my grandmother, she's passed now. We lost my grandmother last year on my birthday, so maybe that's even why I'm sharing this. It was one season, and this might have been the season when my grandma, because she was dealing with a mental breakdown before I came on the scene, before I was born. And this particular season, what I'm talking about now, in my high school year, I remember my grandma was like, telling my mom to just raise your own kids. So by court order, my mama wasn't even supposed to be around us, but it was one season where my grandmother left, just from under just pressure and just dealing with her own, her own self. And she left us. She left the house and everything. And at this time, my mom, who was still using drugs, she was like kind of overseeing us. So I don't know whether I already had done started doing certain things, to the point even certain things that I felt like I couldn't do, I would ask my mama to handle the pack for me. You hear me? These are things that I've already basically repented for. Like, Lord, what in the world was I thinking? And look, how I'm turning out. I'm still turning out better than what God could have left me as. You know what I'm saying? And I want to encourage you, if you are feeling overwhelmed or feeling discouraged, whether it's where you're at in your career, where you're at in life, where your children are, um, I hope something that I'm saying is encouraging you, because this was just 17 years ago. I was doing a whole lot of stuff that I ain't had no business doing. Um, Even though I consider myself to be a strong-minded individual, I still had so many lessons to learn, so many mistakes I was still going to make. And now, the reason that I honestly teach, and the reason why I take pride in being a Kingdom Life Coach, the Barber Beauty Ambassador, is because through these different experiences, through running from a call that I didn't even know I had on my life, just didn't know I was gonna be no type of woman of no God, less more than someone that is licensed, anointed with credentials, from where I come from, to be able to help others and make an impact on those all across the world. Like, um being a mentor internationally, because barbering beauty is all around the world, it's global. Helping others begin to become, financially self-sufficient, more financially stable, more business savvy, because of the things that I've learned over these 23 years. Like, that is a blessing. That is humbling, because if if it had not been for the Lord who was on my side, God knowing me before I was even formed in my mother's womb, the enemy set up for me was for me to fail. You know what I'm saying? It didn't look like the cards, the hands that I was dealt, being raised by my grandmother out of wedlock. Dad on drugs, dad selling drugs, mom on drugs, grandma drinking alcohol, fighting her own addictions, working all the time, just that house. I mean, it was a lot going on, but by the grace of God, look, that is humbling. And then him allowing me to share my testimony and be not the last, because see, he say, I'll make the first, the last shall be first. God has a way of, in the journey, to elevate you and put you in places to be a help to others, because without him, you already know, you wouldn't have been nothing, wouldn't have amounted to anything. So I'm grateful for having enough humility to recognize and reverence the God factor in my life, and all the risks that I've took, and especially as I was young. I pray that this is encouraging someone that is bound by fear, afraid to step out on faith, afraid to do what you're called to do, afraid because you worrying about what they say, you feeling unqualified and all that. God qualified the one that he called. And I don't care what your background look like. That's why I'm on here just sharing a little bit of my business from about 17, 18 years ago. as I get ready to approach my 35th birthday, I just, I can't help but think of the goodness of Jesus. You know what I'm saying? It's Mother's Day. I can't believe I never saw myself being a mother, less more than a mother of three amazing sons. And they have some mistakes that they're going to make. They have some growing that they're going to do. They're literally all children. They're becoming, and they're going to become young men and young adults. And I'm watching them grow, and I'm honored and I'm grateful. But in this, moments like this, it really helped me be even a more gracious and intentional parent. I'm telling you, because when I really think about it, when I really think about what I did, I say, well, they ain't that bad. They ain't that bad when you really think about it, because in our mind, we not as bad as we probably was, and I'm like, you know what, it's just God's grace. So I thank God for his grace. I thank God for his mercy. I thank him for his keeping power. And I pray that as I continue to empower, impact, and ignite y'all to do what it is God is calling you to do, that you just, hey, do me a favor and share what the Lord is doing for you. I am Tiffany, and that is what you're going to get every time I click this button. My goal is to come here and spend some time with my YouTube fam more. Let me know what conversations or what topics y'all would like to talk about. I kind of want to definitely grow this channel, because I have spent majority of my time on Facebook with my Facebook family. And now, because I've had enough watch time, I can at least come live here and then share the link with them there. And they can, when they see this link and they watch the video, then they can come and meet us here. So that way I'm not all over the place trying to, just reach everybody everywhere. And that's when you get to a place where you just want to be, rather settled, stable, and intentional, because one of my goals is to grow the channel. I can't remember if I want to have like 400 subscribers, 500 subscribers, or maybe 200. I'm not sure. But I want to thank every subscriber that is here right now. Okay? Because we are at the ground doing groundwork. Okay? So I just want to thank y'all. As we continue to grow the channel here and have conversations. Y'all already know, if you've been here, some days we might cry, some days we might laugh, some days we might just cut all the way up. But what we're going to do is let the Lord use us, okay? So that's it for now. If you're interested in school or interested in any form of life coaching, receiving coaching from me, I do have some Reclaim Your Pearls Girl sessions. If you do want to be a braid boss, or you want to barber like a boss, if you comment below, then I can give you the link, okay? Because if you haven't had your complimentary session, everybody gets a complimentary 30-minute strategy session, and that is just my gift to you, because I'm serious about, doing the work that God has called me to do, and I understand that everybody don't have it. I'm big on understanding, but then it's going to be up to you to make sure that you invest in you, your future, and your goals and your career, because, honey, that's what we all are having to do. If you take what you are called to do serious, you're going to have to definitely be willing to make some type of investment. And that is why I start off by giving, because God has been so good to me. The least I can do is give my time to serve his people. And in that 30 minutes, may be able to be a conversation that could change the trajectory of you and your family life. But if you're led to book more sessions, to work through more things, build some things, I'm all for it. Go to IamTiffany.org, and I'm going to try to make sure that I put the website in my description box. So that way you can, check me out, support me, see what's going on, see what the Lord over here doing. And if you don't know, I just dropped my I Am hair collection, which includes 3 products: I Am purifying shampoo, I Am fortifying conditioner, and I Am reviving hair oil. You can use that hair oil on your hair, skin, and or beard. It is amazing, and I will be coming giving some hair care tips and doing live demonstrations here. So we can just kind of get into it and talk, more about how to do self-care things for you. So thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Whoever's out there listening, I appreciate my listener that is here tonight. And I will see y'all around. God bless you. And until next time.